Hello friends, my name is Anwar Pandey. So welcome to the VLSI training channel. This is a channel where we are going to discuss things related to Verilog system, Verilog and UVM. So I have created one video related to introduction of Verilog. There we had discussed few things which I would like to tell you what we had discussed in our previous video. So first thing we had discussed introduction of Verilog HDL. Later on we had discussed hierarchical modeling concepts. Then we discuss modules, later on modeling styles, how we can basically design our codes with different modeling styles. So in last video, we were not able to complete our topic instances, component of simulation, and then we had taken an example actually. So that example also we haven't discussed there. So we are going to complete these topics here, and from the next videos we will discuss the further topics in Verilog like lexical conventions, then what are the data types basically. So let's move further and let's continue to discuss instances. So what is instances? Just give me 1 second. Okay, so let's start. What is instances? Basically I would like to tell you a module provides a template from which you can create actual objects. So we know, like we had discussed, what is the modules. So everything whatever we are going to write in Verilog, that is we are going to write into the module and end module block. There we had discussed this module concepts. This I would like to revise once how we were declaring actually module. So just take an example here, yeah, see it. So we were declaring module keyword and then we were giving the module name and then we were putting all the terminal list here into the parenthesis and then we were writing the module internals basically and then end module. So this is the module basically where we are going to write every code whatever we are going to design in Verilog. So let's move to instance part. So what module does is a module provides a template from which you can create an actual object basically. Okay, and when a module is invoked, Verilog creates a unique object from template. Try to understand what I am trying to say is just its kind of definition you can say, and you will have to understand that what is the exact instance. And we have written a code for AND gate. We have designed AND gate, and then when we'll write AND gate test bench, there we are going to instantiate our design. So there you will get an idea how what is the actual object and how we are going to instantiate there. So for time being, just understand what actually it does is a module provides a template from which you can create an actual object, and when module is invoked, Verilog creates a unique object from the template. So basically, each object has its own name, variables, parameters, or in IO interfaces basically. So these are the whatever objects will be there. They will be having their different name. There will be having their own names basically. Parameters, they can have different parameters, and then they can have their input output interfaces, unique basically. And so in that the process of creating these objects from a module template, this is called instantiation. This term is new for you guys, I can understand, but try to understand what I am saying is the process of creating objects from a module template is called instantiation, and the objects are called instances. Try to just understand what is the thing. What I told you is basically a module will provide you a template from which you can create an actual object, and the process of creating objects from a module template is called instantiation. Whenever you will create whenever you will create an object from a module templates basically, so that process is known as an instantiation, and the objects are basically they are called as instances. So this is the kind of a definition here. Practically, we cannot give you. I cannot give you too much example related to that. But yes, wherever we are going to instantiate the things, there I will tell you how we can instantiate, and then how you can create basically objects. I hope you understood this instances part. So let's move to the further slides. If you are having any doubts in instances, you can write a comment to me, and we can discuss it later also. Just move to the further. Okay. So now, uh, next topic is component of simulation. Okay, so we know we have a design basically, and then we have one test bench. I would like to tell you, once a design block is completed, it must be tested. So as a verification engineer, my role is, if any I am having any design, yeah, or any designer engineer, they are writing any design. So that design we need to test whether that design is working properly or not. So once a design block is completed, it must be tested basically. And the functionality of the design block can be tested by applying a stimulus and checking results. Okay, so in the later slide, we will see how we are going to apply the stimulus basically, and then how we can check our design. And in the next slides, I have given one example. So with the help of that example, we can understand the things basically. So let's move further. We call such a block stimulus block. Okay. So from where we are going to apply the stimulus? Stimulus is nothing. It's kind of input. You can say so that block is known as a stimulus block, and it is good practice to keep the stimulus and design block separate. Basically, if suppose that you are writing any design and you are writing any stimulus block, basically stimulus block is nothing, this is known as a test bench in Verilog. So those things should be separate. We cannot keep, like, we can write the both things inside that design. If the both things will be separate, that will be good, and we should keep practice like this only, and your design should be different, and your basically test bench part should be the different. So now, with the help of Verilog, we were writing the designs basically. So a stimulus block also can be written with the help of your Verilog only. There is no need to any different language basically to write. So with the help of Verilog, you can write design as well as you can write your attachment part also. So any separate language is not required to describe basically a stimulus block. And as I told you, this block is basically known as a stimulus block, or you can say this block is as a test bench. So both things are basically same. So there are two styles of stimulus application are possible. In the first style, the stimulus block instantiates the design block and directly drives the signals into the design block. Okay, I'll explain you. See, uh, writing the test bench and then how you can uh, give input to your design. There are two ways. What you can do is just in one case you will write your test bench, and then what you can do is just you can instantiate your design into your test bench. How we will do this, we are going to see into the like later slides. So and there is another way also. Like you can write your stimulus block separate, and then you can write your module basically design separately, and then both things you can put into the one top level wrapper, and with the help of interface you can drive your signals basically input signals. So that is also like a way by which you can do the things. But these things we are going to let's see later. First we are going to see with the help of first type, like we are going to instantiate your design inside your uh, basically test bench. So uh, this we are going to like follow for few slides, but when you will get you will be having good idea about Verilog, what is Verilog, then later on we can see uh, how we can use the interface to connect your basically design and test bench part inside a top module. So don't worry about that part also we are going to see, but first try to understand what is the design block and what is the this test bench part, and then we are going to instantiate our test bench our design into the test bench. So let's take an example of AND gate. Yes, I had discussed this part in my first video also. So just I'm going to discuss once again. If you guys are watching first time this video, so that will be good for you guys, like how you can write your designs and how you can write your attachment part. So I'm not going to discuss this design part because in the previous video, like introduction, uh, what was my previous video? There I had like given you a brief idea like how we can design the any code or something like AND gate or gate, how you can design this basically. So there are there are three ways, there are three modeling styles by which you can design your AND gate. Now we haven't discussed this stimulus block. Stimulus block is nothing, it's just your test bench part. So in example, like I have taken one example here. You can see this is a data flow modeling. I have with the help of data flow modeling, I have designed Endgate here. Here just Endgate and okay. Let me take you the video please now. Just give me 1 second. We're going to discuss there. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, so here I have written Endgate basically. Let's discuss once again. Just give me 1 second. Okay, everything is fine here. Okay, so this thing, if you see, I am adding forward slash and then a star and a star and then the slash. So this is used for the multiple line comments. In Verilog, if you want to use multiple line comments, so there you can use this symbol basically. So just let me write here. Okay, so single this part is okay. It is used for single line comment. It is used for single line comment. Sorry, yeah. And this is the symbol. This is used for multi line comment. Okay, so yes, I have prepared the few more things. In the further slides we'll see, or in upcoming videos we'll see. So I have given everything like what is this single line comment or multi-line comments. So let's discuss these things later. First, focus on this part. So as I told you, this is the way how you can add. If you'll use this forward slashes, two forward slashes, it will add one line comment. And here I have written a test design for AND gate. So as we know, for the coding design, just we'll have to use module, and then we have written a module name, and then we have given the ports basically. If you will see the previous videos, you will understand how we are going to write this. So I would suggest, if you haven't seen those videos, you can watch there. So basically this is the terminal list, and then this is basically AND gate is a name, and then module is a keyword basically. So later on what we can do is just we can define what are the input signals for AND gate and what is the output signal here. And by using primitives, AND gate primitives, C, AND is the keyword here, primitives, we can say here you will have to put first your output, then your input signals. So this is the basically design. Now understand, this is my design. Now I will have to write a test bench. How I will verify my this design basically. So let's understand here. I am going to write my test bench here. So test bench is also written into the module and module block only. So there is no need to write any. There is no need any different language to write your stimulus or test bench block. So with the help of Verilog only, you can write those things also. So let's understand this part. So I have a given name of mod this test bench is and TB. TB I have written this for test bench purpose. So just a similar name I can give. Any name you can give here. And in the ports basically we are going to keep it empty. Why we are going to keep it empty, we can see later, and don't worry about that. Just for time being, just understand we are not going to write anything into the sensitive list. And here I have declared reg ta tb and wire ty. So first thing you understand, ta and tb, these are the input signals for test bench, and this is the output signal for test bench. Now you will have to keep in your mind whenever you are going to declare your uh, input in test bench, that will always be declared as a reg. This is the rule. We'll see why this happens. Basically, there is a one rule is there, that is called port connection rules. So according to that rule, we have to declare those things with the input in test bench as a res. So this is the rule, don't worry about that, we are going to see. But keep in mind, whenever you will declare input, that should be reg. Keep it in mind, in your mind. Okay, and this is wire, and this is basically output. So output always will be declared with the wire keyword here. Just keep in mind, this should always be wire in TB. These are the rules. We are going to see why we are doing this. So whatever input signals will be there for test bench, you will have to declare those input signal as a reg, and whatever output signals will be there, you will have to declare those things as a wire. We are going to see in the deep how the things works in port connection rule and why we are doing this. Don't worry about that. But I would like to give you a difference between the reg and wire. I think I told you in the previous videos also, but try to understand what is the difference between the wire and reg. Wire and reg, these are the data types basically. So wire is used for the physical connection between two components. If suppose that you are having two components, so you can connect those things, those components basically, and there those things you can represent with the help of wire. How you will do those things, I think I have given one example, one coding I have given. You can see the previous videos, there you can get the understanding how you can use the wire basically. In upcoming slides we are going to discuss in a very deep, don't worry about that. You can just get a small idea how we can use this basically wire. So now reg, coming to the point, reg, what is reg? So reg is nothing but it's a kind of register which will hold the value. Don't be confused between the term registers and normal register where we are going to store the memory. This is just a rest data type which holds the value. If I am not going to place any value onto that variable basically, so it will hold the same value whatever it was holding earlier. So until unless I won't place any another data or another value, it will hold the previous value. So for holding purpose we are going to use this reg basically. I hope you this thing clear to you now. So move further, coming to the next line number 9. So now you understand this part is known as an instantiation. Now what I am instantiating here is AND gate. Okay, so AND gate 1 I have written here, but my design is AND gate. So now wait, so just I will remove this one basically, because I am going to write things for uh, gate level modeling. So my design is this. So whatever the name of that design will be, you will have to use that design name. This is the module from where we are creating one instance. So for this we'll have to give a name. This process is known as an instance. Basically this is the instance of AND gate. So with the help of this module you are going to create one instance. Now you will have to connect your design signals with your test bench signals. So this is the notation, you can say how you will connect your design signal. So first A is design signal here, you can see here A is there. So that AR you are going to connect with the test bench A part. So this A is connected with A, B is connected with test bench B signal, and then Y is connected with test bench Y signal. I hope you understood. There are different ways also how you can connect. There is a positional mapping is there, the name mapping is there. Basically this is the name mapping. So we are going to see those things also, but we are going to see that part into the later slides. So now what I did is just I have instantiated my this model into the test bench part. I hope you understood till here. Okay, so now moving further, from this block we are going to apply the stimulus basically. Okay, this I am closing here. Okay, leave it. So There are two procedural blocks basically. One is initial block and another is always block. And we are going to see in deep in further slides what are the always and initial block. But for time being, just understood, initial block execute once. So if suppose that anything you are writing inside the initial block, it will execute once and it will come out and it will finish the simulation kind of. You can understand. So this initial block we have to use here, and they later on we'll have to use this begin and end block. So begin and end block, everything whatever we are going to write here, we have written into the begin and end block. So begin and end is used for uh, you can say containing multiple statements, So if you are using the multiple statements, suppose that here multiple statement is what, one statement is there, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So here we have written 5 statements. So if there will be more than one statement, then you will have to close those things with begin end. This is the rule. If you will not use this begin and end block, it will give the error. So initial block, we understood what is initial block. It will execute this block once, and begin and we are using because of there are multiple statements written inside. The multiple statements are written here. So because of that, we will have to place these things into the begin end block. And now this monitor and what are the stimulus which we are going to apply. So first understand this part, monitor. Dollar monitor is a keyword. So this will basically display your values. If you want to display your values, you will have to use basically dollar monitor. Now just understand dollar monitor, like in C, we had a scanf, printf. Scanf is used for the taking inputs, and then printf is used for the displaying the things. So it works like a printf. Means whatever that thing was doing into C, monitor will also do here. It will display the contents. Now there is a one main important thing about the monitor. If anything whatever we want to display, those signals will get changed, then every time monitor will display. Yes, so suppose that there is a dollar display also which is used for the displaying purpose. Dollar monitor is also there. So but dollar display will it will display kind of once and just it will display. And but monitor will, if suppose that you are having any signals that is keeping change all time, so monitor will every time display the things basically. So how it will work, just understand. We can see the later also, don't worry about that. But for time being, just understand dollar monitor will display the contents, and whenever the value signals will change, it will display the content. So now see what I want to display is inside the double quotes whatever I have written. See, this will considered as a string part. So whatever we are writing in double quotes, it will be the string. So this is going to display the value of TA. TA is nothing. T is a signal of test bench, where and with the to that signal we have connected signal of A, like design signal A. We have connected with TA. So we are going to give some input on TA. So because of that, we are displaying the value of TA in percentile D. Percentile D is used for decimal purpose here. So we'll see later what are the other formats also. So here it's going to display the value of TA into the decimal, and then again it will display the value of TB also into the basically decimal only. Decimal. So slash T is used for the tab. It will add the one tab space here. Because of that, I have used. I'll show that how it's work basically, and don't worry about that. And later on, it will display the value of TY basically in the decimal format. So I am displaying the value of TA, TB, and TY into the decimal. Now this is the way how you can write inside the strings. You will have to use whatever you want to display the things, and later on you will have to give that signal name. If you want to display the value of TA, then you will have to give TA, then you will have to give TB, and then similar way you will have to give TY. Now I hope till this point you have understood the things how it works basically. Okay, so now we are going to give the input. As we know, we have two input AND gate here. You can see there are only two inputs and one output. So two inputs means there will be total four combination. So four inputs can be applied to your two input AND gate. So or whatever four inputs are there, you can see here 0 0, 1 0, 0 1 and 1 1. These are the only combination which can be applied for two input AND gate. So I have taken all the conditions here. So I am giving TA and TB first 0, then output should be 0, then T1 and this case is also, then third case also, and then fourth case. So total all four cases are there. We are going to see the basically uh, those things only, like whatever input conditions are there for two input AND gate, we have applied all the things here, and we are going to just do the AND module. Now we have instantiated our AND gate here. Whatever design is there, I have instantiated here. Now let's see what will be the output here. So I am using basically EDA Playground. You can use anything. There are different simulators available. You can use Questa Sim is there. You can use basically Model Sim is there. Model Sim is available. It's a student version. So Jalynx is also there. So let's give run and see what is the actual output we get. Okay. Sorry. Just give a second. Okay. Let's run. Okay. So now after running, you can see dollar monitor. What it will do is it will display whenever the values changes A and B. Whenever it will get changed, then the value of this monitor will display the value. So first we are going to give the input what is TA and TB. So first we have given TA TB, so this is going to display the value of TA is percentile D in decimal format. So here you can see the value of TA is 0 and then TB is also there. So the value of TA and TB we are giving 0 0, then it should give the output, what output it should give 0, because if you are giving two input AND gates, both inputs as a 0, then output you will get as a 0. So now see, here I have used a slash for backward slash T. So this is introducing one your tabbed space. So if you want to add any space, you can use slash T. So later on we have given 1 and 0 inputs. So here you can see 1 and 0. At this is also your input is 0. Again then we have given 0 and 1. Then here also you can see the output is 0. And at the case of both, when both inputs will be 1, then your output will be 1. I hope you understood this part. Now this test bench will be common for whatever designs you are writing. Suppose that you are going to write this is for OR gate. Instead of AND, we can use just simply OR. Now after running this code, what it will do, everything is same. See, a name you can give any name. Okay, so there should not be any problem with name. But for two input OR gate, everything will be same. There will be two inputs only, one output will be there only, and this test bench will work. Nothing you will have to change there, just you will have to change OR. So output you are going to see here as a OR. It's going to perform as a OR. So in case of OR, if any input will be 1, then output will be your 1. Otherwise your output will be 0. So TA and TB will be 0, and so the output will be 0, and in this case of the output will be 1. Now suppose that I'm talking about the NAND and A and B. So here also you will have to just change NAND and you will have to run. After running, you can see the output as a NAND gate. So why I'm trying to do it, you will have not to worry about like how you can route the different codes. I will try to write different codes and I will try to show you here. But for time being, just understand how these gates you can implement. Now see, for the NAND gate, it's a like a not of AND gate. So here you can see, when both inputs will be 1, then output will be 0. Otherwise, in any case, NAND will produce output 1. So this is the giving the output of according to that. So why I am showing you guys is, you will have not to worry about that. Just you will have to use and not anything, whatever gates are there except not, because not gate works only on one input. So for that you will have to change the input signals basically here we are using two, but there it will be only one input signal. I hope you understood what I am trying to say is, but except NOT gate, you are having NOR gate, XOR gate, XNOR gate, everything. Whatever things are there, you can use there, and you can get the result. So, why I am trying to say is that this is the same design. With the help in gate level modeling, you will have to just use different primitives names like AND or not. I told you there is only one input, so you will have to make some changes here in this design basically. But for the XOR, XNOR, NAND, NOR, those things you can write them in a similar way and you can get the output basically. Now, this was a true gate level solution. I told you that if I want to use the multiple line commands, I can use this symbol and then here we can use this symbol. This will produce multi-line. Now, I want to run the code with data flow modeling. So I have written a code in data flow modeling. So that is given here. Okay. So again, I am going to comment the downside things. So now see, in data flow modeling here, what we have is I have given the gate name is and gate one. Then the same thing input output we have declared here, and here I have declared input and output reg y. Reg I already told you if I want to hold the data, then because of that I am declaring reg. So we'll see those things later also in a day. This is a way how you can write code for data flow model for AND gate basically. So now you will have to instantiate your this design into your test bench. Test bench will be same. So now see, what is the name of this design? AND gate 1. I have given name AND gate 1. So you will have to make change here only. If you will make change here only, so this design now you are instantiating into your test bench part basically here. Here the name was AND gate. Here the name is AND gate 1. So now I will not instantiating this gate, this design. I was instantiating this design. So here also I have written for AND gate, so I can see the result for AND gate. I have given run, just give me 1 second. It will produce output. So yeah, see, you can see the outputs. Now for all the cases everything is 0 except both are 1. When both the inputs are 1, then it's the input 1. So with the help of data flow model you can write the codes in this way. Now suppose that you want to write the code for OR. So for OR we have simple this is known as a pipe. Everything will be same, you will not have to worry about that, just you will have to use this symbol. So this is the symbol and I have given run. You can see how you will get the input according to that. Just give me 1 second, it's running. Yeah, okay. So see, for OR gate you can see 0 0, when input is 0 0, then output is 0. When input is 1 and 0, then output is 1. Like in other cases, output is 1. So what I am trying to say is, if you are having different models, so then you can instantiate your designs basically into your test bench part, and it will produce your proper input. So with this is the basically this is known as your stimulus block, or this is known as your um, test bench part. I hope you understood this properly concept. What is how you can design codes and how you can design test bench. So I would like to request you guys, if you really want to learn those things. So I have given here. I have given example for AND gate. So what you guys can do is you write code for OR gate, NOT gate, and AND gate for the rest of the gates basically, and then you can write the separate test bench. I know the test bench will be same for every two input gate, but I would like to say you guys, I would like to request you guys, you will have to write the different. Don't use copy paste things there, because whenever how much you will write the code, you will be having the that much good idea. So you can write the code for the rest of the things. Even for the data flow modeling also there are things are there. You can write here with the help of this data flow if you want to use, and then you can write code for the behavioral model. I already have been discussed. Right now I am not discussing it. But if you are having any issue, I would like to request you. You can drop me a comment, and I have mentioned my mail ID also. You can write me mail also. I will try to get back to you guys, and definitely I am going to help you according to that. So this video was like this completed. This session has been completed. So this was the introduction of the basically can say introduction of Verilog, how the Verilog base works, and what are the design blocks, what are the test bench part, and how many ways are there, like how you can write the codes basically. So this is very small part of Verilog. This is kind of, you can say, first chapter. So if you are having a good understanding of this, then we can move further, and we can do like a good, very good in this domain basically. So if you guys are freshers, I would like to request you, download Samir Palankar's PDF. It is available on Google free. So whatever like I'm explaining you guys, I am explaining from there. If you will watch my videos and if you will read from the Samir Palantkar, there is no need to take any kind of training. I will try to um, explain every topic, whatever is related to your verification part. So if you want to make your career in verification domain, you can download that PDF. That is very good PDF, and you can watch my videos, and then you can read the PDF basically. If you are having any doubt, you can come to me, or you can drop any message or comments. We can discuss it later. So this session, I think it has been done. I'm not going to explain anything, but just I want to give you a few coding ideas. So let's discuss. What we can discuss here is, if suppose that we want to write any codes in Verilog, how we can do it. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah. So in this video, I will try to focus more on coding parts, because coding is very important in this domain. So if you don't have idea of coding, it's very difficult for you guys. So like how you can write your first code. So suppose that I told you that I will have to write anything inside the module and end module. So I'm going to write every code inside the module and end module. Okay. Now initial and always block. Two blocks are there which are known as the procedural block. So what are the exact uses of those blocks, I will tell you later. But suppose that if you want to do any work, that you will have to do inside your procedural block. So suppose that inside this block I am going to just display one statement. So display is used for the displaying purpose. Anything, whatever string I want to display, or anything value, if any value I want to display, I can use the display statement. So see, you can see this is my first Verilog code. So this, what it will do is just it will display the your, this is my first Verilog code. So inside the double quotes we are going to write this thing. So I have given a run, just wait for few times, it will produce some output. Okay, so now here you can see, this is my first code. So if suppose that you want to display anything, what it will do is it will add this information. Like it needs everything, whatever code you are going to write, definitely you are going to write into the module and module. So add module part, and inside the initial block, if I am using one single statement like display, then there is no need to write inside the beginning. I have explained you that in the previous, few times earlier, previous slides, you can say, there you will have to use basically begin and end. But why I am doing this is, if I am writing one statement, then there is no need to write the begin and block. Okay, and with the help of this thing, you can display your content, basically whatever you want. Suppose that I am using here multiple statements, then what kind of error I can get? Suppose that twice I want to display this in the first one. This is why twice I am doing, because I am taking the multiple statement. Begin and is used for the containing the multiple statements. So here I haven't written. So according to this, it should give error. Okay. So let's understand what how it does is. Just give me 1 second. I have given run. So okay, yeah. See, design line number 7. Design.sv is there, and there is a line number 7. It's saying 7. 7 where it is 7. 7. This one is. So it is saying semicolon. So some error is being, only elaboration system tasks are allowed here. So it is giving some kind of error. So now if I will use begin and end block here, which is used for the multiple statements line, so it won't produce or it won't give any error. It will display your values. See, now we are not getting any kind of error. It is displaying normally. Okay. Now one more thing I want to show you guys. Taller display, if suppose that I am writing here, and inside the parenthesis I am not writing anything, then what it does, just look very carefully. What it does is, now see, can you relate those things? This is my first video, and then this is my first video. So earlier what we can do is control C you can do, and delete these things from here and paste here. Not here. Okay. So see, what I am doing is just I am giving one display, and this is I am doing for the fun purpose. You can say for readability purpose. Just I am adding this line here. Okay. So alright, let's run this code and see what happens. First thing what we are doing here is just we have written two display statements. Okay. Now later on I am displaying this part, this line you can say. Then again I am displaying this line, and then again just I am using this display without anything in parentheses, and again displaying with this thing. So let's see the output. What is the output? Okay. So first line, this one. This is displaying as it is, and again second line also this is displaying as it is, and this line also this is displaying as it is. You can see here, and again this line is also this is displaying as it is. But here, if you are not writing anything into the parentheses, then here it is running, including one new line. So just I wanted to tell you, if anything you are displaying without parentheses, like you are not giving anything, then it will introduce one new line character here. It will add one new line. So after that, it is displaying the later part. I hope you understood what I am trying to say is. And again, see, after displaying, it will automatically add one new line. So suppose that you are writing, I hope this part you understood. So because of that, I'm deleting. But let's see this part. Okay. So see, display is there. I'm trying to display these things. So first I have displayed this thing. This is my first. This is my second. You can say one second. You can add here. It's running. Just give me 1 second. It's taking some time. Yeah, it's taking some time. Please be a little patient. Yeah. So you can see here. After displaying one line, your second line is getting displayed into the next line. So if you are doing this part also, then $display will add /n. It is used for basically adding new lines. We'll see into the lexical conventions whenever we are going to see the next videos. There we can see there this thing. So what I'm trying to say is, if I'm displaying first line, it will automatically $display will automatically add one new line character, and whatever things we are going to display in the next line, it will get displayed into the next line, because if it is has added one new line character, so the pointer will be here and it will display the things here. Why I'm trying to explain is here, you are having you read about the dollar monitor. Dollar monitor also does the displaying purpose. Dollar display also does the, but there is one more thing. Dollar write. Dollar write is also used for the displaying purpose. Okay, so I have written here dollar write. Now you can see this. This is the output. So this is my first code. So dollar $right is not adding any new line. In the same line only, it's displaying your next line. So whatever it is, display or something, whatever it will do, dollar $right will not add. Dollar display will add one your new line character, and everything will be displayed into the next line display. I hope you understood what I am trying to say is. Okay, got it? Okay, that's great. Okay. So I think my point was to clear how the begin and end works. So if suppose that you are using single line thing, if you are using single statement, so inside the initial you can write directly that statement. But if you are if you want to use the multiple statements, then you will have to use begin and end block. Now we have three things: dollar $write, dollar $monitor, and dollar $display. All these things are used for the displaying purpose. So dollar $monitor will display when there will be changes in the signal. Whatever signals we are going to display, if there will be any changes, then it will display. Dollar $display, basically it will display the value. Uh, it will display once, okay, and anything you're writing the multiple times of display, and for the same variable you're writing, so the last display will work like it will override the previous values basically, and it will add a new line character into the end of the line basically. So anything you are going to display with the help of dollar display, it will add one new line. And in write, dollar write is also used for the displaying purpose, but it won't add any new line character in the your test, like in your simulation form, you can say. So it won't add any new line. See here, in this way you can get the answers. So these are the very small things we can see. Now I would like to give you some few more examples by which you can like you can write codes by yourself. Okay, let's do some fun. We have some data types in Verilog, but I haven't told you what are the data types here. But see, I'll give you some example. We have data type wire. Okay, so wire say I'm taking one data type YW. Res is there, R, take R. Integer is there, say I. Okay, now uh, we are going to see how we can see the default value and default size of any data type. Okay, let's just see here. What we are going to do is we are going to see default value and size of data types. This will work for your system Verilog also, and Verilog also. Whatever data types are there, if you write the same code, you can get the value and size of that data type. So suppose that let's display integer. Okay, so I will have to use this quotes because everything whatever we want to display, that will come into this quotes basically. So the default value of integer data type. So we have in Verilog we have integer data type. We don't have int data type. Please keep in mind, we don't have any int data type in Verilog. That is available in system Verilog. We'll see later, but just see focus what we are going to do here. So if I want to see the value of integer data type, so I will have to just I am writing this display statement. It will just simply display, and I will give the whatever data type I have declared. This is this is known as a declaration. I am declaring one integer data type, and variable is I. So that I value I want to see what is the default value of that I. So just I have given this statement. So now see, it is running, and just give me 1 second. It will take you more time. Alright. So here you can see the default value of integer data type is X. So it will give you the default value of integer data type. Now I'll do one more thing. I'll add int also, but int is not available here. This is available in system Verilog. So take S. So instead of int, now integer, we are displaying the value of int. Now see what value you will get. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So now what you are getting? The value of int data type, default value of int data type is 0. So what I am trying to say is this is a way by which you can uh, check what are the default values. So if I want to check the default values, then I will have to use display the value normally. It will give you the default value. So for wire, reg, you can write the code. I'm not going to write for them also. So this is the way, means I'm telling you for one way, so you can write code for different. I would like to suggest you guys do by yourself. Just write it and check what are the by default values. Now we are going to display the size of the default data type. So the size of uh, the default size. The default size of int data type is percentile B. So if I am going to display anything in percentile B, like in binary format, then it will give you the size basically. So here this I have given for int only. Just wait, it will run and it will give you the output actually. So here you can see. So for integer data type, what is the default value? X. For int data type, what is the default value? 0. And what is the default size of the data type? It will display the things into the binary, it will display. So the by default size of int is 32-bit. I hope you understood that how it works basically, how we are going to display the value. Anything if you want to check the size of any data type, okay, whether it is like it is in system or it is in Verilog, you can use this code, you can say this concept, you can say uh, if you will display the things into the binary format, that will give your by default size. And normally if you will display the value of that variable, basically the data type, it will give you the default value. So you can write a task, or you can write a take a note of that everything. Please, whatever we are going to discuss actually that types and everything in the further videos, upcoming videos. But I would like to suggest you can go, you can check for wire, you can check for reg, even you can check for the default size of integer. I haven't displayed here. I can do that also, but I don't want to do that. Please try to write some codes based on the AND gates basically, and later on then we can move on add a subtractors like combination or sequential circuits. But slowly we are going to do that also, and definitely we are going to focus on the mostly coding parts. If you want to get good understanding, then our coding should be very strong. So this session was I would like to close this session basically, and if you are having any doubts, you can comment me, and you can comment and you can drop a mail also. So in this video basically we have covered the introduction part, and this is the second video for introduction. If you are having, if you are watching this first time, you can watch my previous videos also. So if you are a fresher, and I suggest you please watch all the videos basically. Everything I will try to cover it from very basic, and there will be no need to take any kind of training or something. This is this will be complete concepts I'm going to put for Verilog, system Verilog, and Zoom also. And later we can. I'm thinking to give some idea about the protocols also, and there are different things in system Verilog, like we can create environments or something. So it totally depends upon you guys. If you want to do that, you can watch these videos basically. So I would like to close this video. So in upcoming videos, we are going to see the, just I'm giving a small idea. What you can see is we are going to see the lexical conventions, what are the data types, and there are different keywords also. So we are going to see those things also. Basically, dollar display, dollar monitor things are also there in upcoming videos. So just I have given you a small introduction about that. So in the upcoming videos, we are going to see into the things, into the details. So till then, bye. Thank you, and thank you for so much for watching this video. We'll meet soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye.